It's not a Japanese drink, but I did pick up some soju at Target. Target, where they lock up the underwear, the baby food, Lego sets, but you can just grab some 12% alcohol right by the kids' snack aisle. Alright. So things have been going from bad to worse to even worse. Environmentally speaking, I think I'm headed this way, whether I ought to be or not. Crowbar in hand. Giving them the shirt off my back, quite literally. I have a crumble cookie, but I really should probably stop eating this. Cover that with a napkin to hide my watchful eye.
まさかまだ生き残っていようとは。
お姉ちゃんは所詮は向こう側の人間。私の気持ちなんてわからない。
落ち着いて。あなたがどうしてここにいるかわかる？
わからない。ここはどこ？怖いや。辛い。気持ち悪い。帰りたい。
それは何なの？あなたいつから飲んでるの？そんなに飲んで大丈夫なの？
The meds.
大丈夫だよ。これを飲むと落ち着くから。
もうやめなさい。それを飲むのをやめて。
私に構わないで。これが全ての根源。お前は私の全てを奪った。ザクコもリンコもシュウも奪い、お父さんもお母さんも。私を返せ。奪った全てを返せ。
Shiramuku. Okay. Stamina's gonna be a thing here, okay. Could have been something I could have done something with. Type of boss to summon a couple of extra enemies when you're having trouble. Oh shit! I don't know what I was supposed to do about that, but I'm glad I got 3 health. that was a waste. I thought it was health kit. Oh, pill! Can I run away from all of this? No, I don't know. Am I supposed to kill her before this thing blows up, or what's the idea? It's interesting. You can reach a point where you have stamina, but it just will not do it anymore. Classic thing everybody hates for a boss as an attack that causes a massive amount of damage, but it's impossible to avoid him. There's no indication of how to telegraph or avoid it. Well, at least my health's increasing. 4 is littered in medication. Some of these are going to end up being normal people that are wondering what the heck I'm doing. 112 kills. Okay. A lot of games fool around with implying that how much medicine you're taking is a bad idea, like Alan Wake, but this is especially something that's not quite right here. Don't like Pac-Man. Okay, well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not meant to be the main ending. But I never am very good at keeping track of all the little things I'm supposed to do to get the quote-unquote good ending. Yeah, you know, I mean, I guess you know, whatever the ending is, it's like the better one or the real one or whatever. Maybe it ties things up with a neater bow, but in this one it does seem like a lot of these kind of peripheral concepts were just to be scary or were misdirection, like this stuff about a disease and a curse and whatever. Nothing really seems to come of that. I mean, the interpretation that I get there is that all of us is in her head, and she's snapped from having an abusive household, as well as she has to live to her older sister, and all the, you know, terrible things that were put upon women in that time and place, and, you know, still arguably in today and around the world. But let's see what this little video here indicates. Maybe this will tell a bit more.
米川により県警本部、県道8号線にて当該事案の被疑者と思わしき女性に襲われた男性2名のうち1名は現在心肺停止の状態。
羽倉町1より県警本部、一部被害者に使用された包丁ですが敷地内からは発見できず、被疑者は現在もこれを所持している可能性が高いと思われます。どうぞ。
県警本部から各局、女性被疑者は20代です。花嫁装束、身長は 160cm 少々、常吉神宮より逃走中。凶器を所持している可能性が極めて高い。各局はくれぐれも慎重に対応されたし。
羽倉町1から県警本部、被疑者は赤と白のカプセル状の薬のようなものを犯行時に断続的に服用していたとのことです。
県警本部より神楽町1、それは式場内で発見された正体不明のカプセル薬と同一のものか。どうぞ。
羽倉町1から県警本部、被疑者が服用する際に口からこぼしたカプセル薬を敷地内から
Well, usually, Big Pharma being the problem is a Resident Evil issue, so here, is it the cause or the effect? Medication. Well, you know, overall, yeah, the vibes are on point for a Silent Hill. I don't know anything about the production history of the game, so I can't, I'm just spitballing here, but it seems to me like it might have just been a different idea, or they were very generous with the concept of it just to use the IP, because it does have a lot of things in common with the other Silent Hill games, in addition to the superficial fog, in the creature design and Kitty Yamaoka. I mean, a lot of creative talent is still there, and the art design and visual design is still there. In the themes of well, you know, trauma and sort of a psychological and metaphorical component to the creatures, as grotesque as they are. That's not unusual in horror. It's kind of become a little more popular these years, but I feel like Silent Hill really brought that into the mainstream, at least with video games. And this does continue that tradition. I don't think there's meant to be any kind of lore connection. I'm sure some people on YouTube will try to find a way to tie it all together, but it's in a very different time and place from most of the rest of the games, which, in my experience, are traditionally kind of turn of the millennium America, any town sort of place, BMW, David Lynch inspiration, Twin Peaks, X-Files, all that stuff. Look, I mean, that's why I like it. We got a lot of creepy trees and everything. Anything can happen in the fog. But this is really kind of taking a much more specific approach, it seems, with the experience of being a teenage girl in the 60s Japan, and a lot of the personal self-image issues and societal expectations and coming-of-age stuff that comes with that, especially in kind of a broken home. But I've never been crazy about the Silent Hill games' multiple ending situation. It's a staple of the series at this point. There are other games that do it where I'm sure it's been something that I've enjoyed. I'm just not thinking of any specific examples. But for something so open-ended and seemingly meant to have a specific conclusion based on the arcs that have been set up, I'm less keen on that. At least I didn't get the one where it turns out that a dog and a UFO did it or whatever, which I'll always point to. We'll try to put Silent Hill 2 up on a pedestal. And I like that game, but I didn't play it until a long time after it came out. And I think we'll be a little bit too precious about it. What am I talking about? I have a copy of it. Anyway. This one, I did get a physical copy of this one as well, and I'm glad that I did, because I think it's definitely worth it. The combat itself is kind of janky at times. The item system is a little bit weird. I mean, the gameplay is fine. It's more in service. It is a story-driven game. And I believe the person who wrote this, I don't know much about them. Their name there kind of looks like an online username, and my understanding is that's in keeping with their presence up to this point, because I think they are or were like a horror manga writer or artist or something, and they had done some pretty spooky stuff, to say the least, in the past, so they were sort of tapped for this project, which let me tell you, that'd be kind of a dream job for me. I have not made any real inroads into that, but I think it'd be super fun to write for a game or write for some other project where I don't necessarily have to be intimately involved in the actual technical aspects of programming or marketing or anything, but I could just come up with this spooky outline or story that somebody else works off of. That'd be cool. That'd be a little niche, a little box I have not checked off yet. I want some Discord with some folks that do some of that stuff, so I'm feeling like I might want to chime in with them and maybe see if anybody, self-promotion is often kind of frowned upon in this space, fair enough, but if anybody needs somebody to write or do dialogue or even narrate or something, I'm not told I'm not too shabby at that either. So, spooky season, my thoughts get running. But anyway, as good as this music is, I'm not sure how much longer this will go, so let me see if I can tastefully skip it. Okay, Coming Home to Roost. New Game Plus. All right, you can experience changes to the story and have the chance to fulfill specific conditions to unlock new endings. You will also be able to play on the hard difficulty setting Lost in the Fog. Okay, got a couple of trophies. Okay, about 10 hours, That's all right. I paid more for less. View endings. Oh. Coming Home to Roost. Drown in a bottomless pit of self-doubt. Well, way to call me out. Didn't take the red capsules. Purified the sacred sword or didn't obtain it. Obtained the Agada no Hote Soma. Didn't take the red capsules. Obtained the unpurified sacred sword. Complete 2 different full endings. Oh god, here we go. Listen to all the UFO. Well, of course, Space Wars. See, in this game it actually makes sense, because they've got this whole thing set up. I didn't do any of this stuff, but I guess this is kind of low-key a more difficult run of the game, where you don't take the pills. Let me see what those trophies were. That might... Is that going to stop the broadcast? Hold on. Sorry if so. Okay. Wait, hold on. Fall order. Which one did I get? Grateful for a worthy foe. Hard or higher, actually, difficulty. Well, okay, why can't I just sort by which ones I got? Am I that thick that I can't figure out where to go here? Oh yeah, that's the to-do list. I'm sorry. Only mic audio. Okay, hello, hi. This is my voice. That's right, these are kind of esoteric. Story difficulty or higher action, okay. Hard puzzle. Defeat the Shiramuku without dying once. Okay. Well, I mean, part of that is because of a difficulty setting that I had, but hey, I'll take it. I think if I knew that that was a trophy, I would have psyched myself out and ended up dying. But okay, yeah, you know, entertaining, thought-provoking. I'm trying to think of the last time I replayed a game like this. I know I did the A and B runs of Resident Evil 2 or 3 remake, possibly both, just because those weren't too long either, and I did enjoy them. I might do that for this at some point. It's a bit more puzzle-oriented and cutscene heavy, so probably not anytime soon, but I appreciate the option. I appreciate the possibility of replay value. Like, I get very particular, maybe a little precious in my own right about replaying games, especially ones with branching paths, because I feel like it's like my version of the story is the one that I did, and even though I know this is fake, it's fictional, it's a video game, I feel like if I go back and redo it and it turns out differently, it feels like it sort of cheapens the experience I had the first time again. Maybe that's my own personal hang-up, but I don't know. I mean, with as much as this game feels sort of metaphorical and dreamy, I mean, maybe I can have my own sort of headcanon where the bad ending is where she was foreseeing a possibility but things would turn out poorly, or it was a delusion in its own right, and maybe I can aspire to something a bit more positive. But in the meantime, that's about it as far as spooky games go on here. I have Lords of the Fallen, but I've kind of hit a wall on that one. Ghost of Tsushima, despite having Ghost in its name, is more of a fantastical action throwback game, so I don't anticipate I'll do that. And I could stream other things too. It's not a sin, but I like to commit to the spooky stuff, especially around Halloween. So in the meantime, I am going to pop off for this shorter than usual sub-stream, post-stream. But until I find something else creepy to play, which will be a matter of when, not if, thanks for tuning in and stay spooky.